Hi, it's Chris here from the EQMod project. In this tutorial I'm going to look at EQMOSAIC. This is a fairly simple application that was written to help people take mosaics and ensure that they don't have any of those embarrassing gaps in between the individual panes. To help with this demonstration, I've got my planetarium program already running, and as you can see I've defined a finder rectangle which corresponds to the field of view that I would get if I were using a webcam at prime focus in my telescope. The moon is looking a little odd, as you can see. This was purely because I couldn't find a way of changing the colour of the finder rectangle, so I took the other approach and changed the colour of the moon. Okay, let's start up EQMOSAIC. Now EQMOSAIC is a ASCOM client application. It means it will connect to any telescope driver. So the first thing we have to do is tell it which ASCOM driver to use. So we go for the choose scope. I'm going to keep it on the ASCOM simulator, EQ simulator. And as with EQ Tour, there's a little checkbox down here where you can have it automatically connect to this telescope whenever you start the application up. Useful thing to have selected. Okay, now at the very key to doing the mosaic movement is for EQMOSAIC to know what the field of view of your camera is and how much you want to overlap the frames. And this is set in this area here. Now I appreciate that people have lots of different camera types, perhaps use focal reducers, Barlows, whatever. So we provide a number of different presets, looks like about 10, no, 15, one called Wibble there, where you can basically adjust the field of view to whatever you want it to be. We can go all the way up to 60 arc minutes, save it, and each time you select it, it should come back. So if I go back to my camera, we should get our 60 arc minutes back. So that's just a handy way of setting up the field of views for all of your cameras or equipment combinations. Right, for this particular example, I need to have it set on my preset, which is the field of view that corresponds to the webcam. And I've got a frame overlap of 14%. You will need some overlap. You need it to be able to overlay the mosaic panes. You have to be able to have some features that are in both panes of the mosaic so that you can align them. But also because the moon, in this case, doesn't move at a steady rate, although even if you go for lunar rate, it's still wobbling about in the sky, and it's best to have a little bit of overlap just to take up any wobble. Okay, so the way this works is, having connected to the scope driver, we get the position, get the current position. Now EQMOSAIC knows exactly where and if we click in any grids, EQMOSAIC will move the appropriate amount to move on to the next section of the mosaic. And so you just go through all areas like this, making sure they're all covered, taking your pictures as you go. And if you want, you can use these grid references to reference your image your image file name, and that's all there is to it. Every time you hit this get position, this takes you back to the center, or that becomes the center grid, no matter where you're pointing. There's also a spiral function, which can be useful. It does a spiral movement, and that could be useful if you're doing deep space photography and you can't seem to find your target. The normal spiral search on for instance, EQMOSAIC is continuous, which isn't really much good if you need a long exposure to find the thing you're looking for. So with this, you can move off to a position, take a long exposure. Is it there? No. Up to the next one. Is it there? No. Move to the next one. Ah, there it is. Just a useful little tool that's built into this mosaic function. Now, that's really all there is to the mosaic movement itself. The other thing to mention is that, like EQ Tour, EQMOSAIC has a quick launch button within EQASCOM. If EQASCOM doesn't know where to find Mosaic, then this window will come up. You just browse to wherever you've installed it, tell it where to find the executor, and then whenever you click on that, EQMOSAIC will automatically pop up. And if you've configured EQMOSAIC to automatically connect back the driver, you're good to go. Okay, that concludes this tutorial.